Okay, I'm going to go ahead and show you the remix and how I did it. My inspiration for this was very much a house type of feel to it. I just thought her vocals would fit really cool in a house setting on this song. Her original song is very poppy, so I wanted to kind of take that poppiness and put it to like a dance floor with a bit heavier beat. The original beat of her song was 105, and I put this one, I think it looks like 125. Let me go ahead and go through the different instruments I used. Um, I'll just go through them first and then kind of play what I did. It had a main drum section, a bridge drum section, a few percussions. I used this guy for the bass and the sub bass, which was really fun. Bridge sub bass. I used a piano, which is a Korg M1, which is, if anybody is into house, you'll know how influential the Korg M1 is. Got a bridge organ, which is also the Korg M1. I've got two sets of strings. I've got this first set of strings here. The second set of strings is the same strings, just up an octave. And then I have MYNXY's vocals here. Her vocals, I went through her vocals and chopped them up a bit, like you do in a remix sometimes, and just kind of put them where they fit in the song. And her outro vocals are her original vocals. I didn't touch those because her voice is really cool. So I thought, since I chopped her vocals up on the remix, I thought it would be really cool to end it with her original vocals, and I think it really made the song doing her original vocals on the ending. And then I have some risers and transitions and things like that. So let's go through the instruments first. The first one is, we'll go through the drums. It's a drum beat that I came up with and then bounced it down. The only thing I put on the drum beat itself after everything was said and done is I put the Pultec EQ on it. And if you don't know the Pultec EQ, Universal Audio makes it, and it's such a cool EQ. I don't really think you can mess it up. It just makes the sounds just incredible. So let me play the drum beat for you real quick. So very housey drum beat, bridge drums. I did the same thing with the bridge drums, just use the Pultec on there. This is what they sound like. So the next thing is percussions, and I'm just gonna play all these percussions together for you. Okay, here's what they sound like. Okay, as you can see, the percussion, I just build the percussion up, so I'll start small with like the first one, then I build up to the second one, the third one, and then the bridge percussion's a totally different pattern. And I'm not going to go through how I did everything on the percussion, how I did all the EQing and stuff like that. We can do that another time. The next thing I did was the Moog bass, and this thing, it just sounds sick. What I did to it is I used the Moog, came up with a setting on there I liked, and the only thing I did was I cut off a bunch of the top end because you don't need it for bass. And I use the sausage fattener too. And if you don't know what the sausage fattener is, Dada Life makes it, and it just takes your bass to a whole nother level. Increase some of the fatness, which is the sound, and the color some harmonics. Let me play you what it sounds like solo. And you'll notice that it is bussed over to this compressor. So watch the compressor. I sidechained it, so that's where you get that pumping noise out of it. Alright, there's that. The next thing I did, I don't know if you'll be able to hear this or not, but it's sub bass. And the Moog is known for doing really good sub bass. So let me play what the sub bass sounds like here. I doubt you can hear that because I can barely hear it on my speakers. So let's just move on from that. Sub bass on the bridge. Here's the main piano riff I came up with. I thought it was a really fun, housey kind of riff. Let me play that. So what I did on that is I EQ'd it. So I didn't like this frequency in here, and I took some of the low end off and just a tad bit of the high end off. On this compressor, what I really like is, or on this piano, what I really like is the compressor. I used a LA2A, and that is a optical compressor, and I just like optical compressors on piano. I think it's just nicer. And then I put a limiter on here just to make sure I didn't peak anything. So let me show you what that sounds like. Okay, cool. Next thing I did is the organ on the bridge, and I'll show you that here. It is the Korg M1 as well, and what I did on this is, let me see, where's my bridge? I did some EQ, did a compressor, and I also did this, which is a filter, and this is, I'll show you how I did the filter. Let me show you how I did the filter right now. So what I did is, if you watch this, I just filtered this from down here, up here, and back down. So it's basically just doing a sweep of the frequencies, and I just automated that. So here's what it sounds like. So now it's wide open. And it'll start coming back down. And the reason I did that was just to give it more movement and make it more interesting. Cool, that's how I did that. If you have any questions on how I did that, just shoot me an email or leave me a comment and I'll show you how I did it. Next thing I did was strings, and the strings I used East-West strings because you can't get better than the East-West stuff. They're incredible. So let me just play these real quick. Okay, so those are the strings there, and these strings are the same strings. I just changed the pattern a little bit on them and moved them up an octave. So this is what they sound like by themselves. Okay, those are strings. All right, now we get to the vocals, what I did on the vocals. All right, so had the original stems for her vocals, MYNXY's vocals, and what I did is chop them up and did a few different things here. So the first thing I did on her vocals before I did anything is I EQ'd and compressed them just to make sure everything was good, and then I bounced them down and then did my chopping. So her intro vocal, what it sounds like is this. Not gonna get sleep tonight. So the only thing I did to that is I just put a delay on there, and that just kind of gave it a cool sound, I thought. So we got that delay. And her verse, for the verse, what I did is, show you here, play that for you. Sleep, sleep, sleep. Kind of a cool sound. Sleep, sleep, sleep. So I didn't know how well that would fit, so what I used was Soundtoys Effect Rack. And I found this really cool one of the presets called Suspense Builds, and kind of built from there. I turned the radiator off. The radiator was just too much for it. And then I messed around with the crystallizer and the Echo Boy to get that sound. And that little screechy sound, I didn't think I'd like it, but it kind of fits in the song nicely, so we just kept it. For the chorus, what I did, here's her chorus.
I'm gonna leave you, I'm gonna leave you, I'm gonna leave you.
Okay. What that is that's her vocal, and I just did a echo on it. I think it repeats it 5 different times at 125, and you just play around with the Echo Boy till you get the sound you wanted. That's all I did on that one. And here's her chorus vocals with effects, so they're doubled in a way. And let me play these real quick. I believe you, I believe you, I believe you. I believe you, I believe you, I believe you. Okay. What I did with those is, first I used Echo Boy. The second thing I did was I used Isotope's got a vocal synth, which is really cool. So what I did is I took those vocals and I ran them into a talk box and the polyvox setting and the vocoder setting, and just kind of tweaked it around to get that noise or that sound I wanted. And from there, I put the Pan Man on, and he just goes. I set him just go to 2 bars slow, so he goes this way, and then he'll go back this way. So that's how we did him. Okay, lastly, no, it's not lastly. The Keep It Going Vox, what I did here. Let's see how it sounds.
Keep it going. Keep it going.
Cool. So on that one, I just used a micro shift on there, which gives it a chorus effect, and then I put Echo Boy on here. Echo Boy Jr. Gave it the Memory Man tape, and the echo time is about 450 milliseconds. And that's how I got that thing out of it. The outro Vox are just her vocals by themselves. Let me just play that for you real quick.
The sun started to rise. Don't wanna shut my eyes.
Cool. For those, I just kept them the way they were. They sounded great the way they were, and I didn't want to do anything to them. This one, I'll show you how I did this. This is the go part of the vocals, and let me play it for you real quick.
Go, 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 go.
Okay, so what I did there, I took her vocals that sound go, and I put it into Logic's sampler EXS24, and put that in there, and then from there I just put in the go and sped it up to where it needed to be sped up to. How I got that pitch change is, I'll play it one more time. I used Little Alter Boy here, just for automated the pitch change. So you'll see how it's here. It's 0. Now watch what happens.
Go, 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 go,
Alright, that's how I got that to happen. And the last stuff are just risers and things like that. I'm not going to go through all those. Well, I'll go through one here. Let's do the... Let's try this one here, see what it does. That was just a noise, white noise, and it's just filtered and things like that. So that's how that got that one. That was a cool one. The other ones are just big booms and a couple other risers. The whole point of those is transitions to other parts of the song. So that is basically how I did the song. I won't go through all the automation, how I did that. But thanks for listening to the remix, and I'm going to put the link to the originals down below. Again, this is a remix from MYNXY, and it was produced by Unkle Ricky, and I'd like to thank them again for allowing me to remix this song. It means a lot when an artist lets me remix their song for them. If you have any questions, hit me up at jason@mrkaplan.co. leave me a comment below, and don't forget to subscribe. Take care. Thanks.